You know, if another health show did one of these, you guys would be high-fiving your TV. We're going to do 5 of them. Toward the bottom of the show, plants that kill fungus. Wouldn't you like to know what that is? And then Pam Bartha, my dear friend from Canada, how to become a wellness champion. Help yourself get better. Clay Cross is he's a dear friend of mine, beginning a brand new segment, Nutritional News Minute. Today he asked the question, what's eating you? Okay, it's really, really a good segment. Then we have a doctor. I love this doctor. Her name is Amelia Rapole. We met her at ACIM meeting in Orlando. Wait till you see what she says about prostate disease and disease in general. And finally, I open up today, should all pregnant women be taking this antibiotic? How safe is it? All that and more on today's Know the Cause. My name is Doug Kaufmann. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. Part of what I try and do here on Know the Cause is educate you. You don't have time to do what I do. Sometimes in the evening when I get home from work, I began looking at research, studying it. Have you ever heard of the antibiotics Macrobid or Bactrim? Sure you have. If you're a woman with urinary tract infections, you've heard of it. But what if you're a pregnant woman with urinary tract infections? This is going to be a little bit lengthy, but I want you really to study this. Look, we all have daughters or daughter-in-laws, and we all have grandchildren. You know, we all have wives and daughters and so forth. And we need to know this, folks. Shh. It's almost like it's not leaking out there, but somebody leaked it, okay? Pregnant women, urinary tract infections, and antibiotics. Here's a headline I read the other night. Pregnant women often prescribed risky antibiotics for urinary tract infections. The 2 antibiotics are Macrobid and Bactrim. I'm still breathing fast from that opening. Pregnant women aren't sometimes, pregnant women aren't rarely, pregnant women are often prescribed these risky antibiotics. Pregnant women with a diagnosis of a UTI are commonly they're doing this, prescribed antibiotics that are teratogenic, according to the Center for Disease Control. This came out of a major medical journal. Okay, so you're thinking there, as I was sitting there and reading this, I'm going, you have to be kidding me. I study mycotoxins, fungal poisons. Some are teratogenic. What does that mean, folks? I hope you're sitting down. These are commonly prescribed. Oh, she's got another urinary tract infection. Give her Bactrim. Okay, let's keep going. What does that word mean, teratogenic, right? Some antibiotics are teratogenic, ? Medical definition of teratogenic drugs. A teratogen is an agent that can disturb the development of the embryo or the fetus. What? Teratogens halt the pregnancy or produce congenital malformation like birth defects. What? These aren't rarely, whoops, we made a mistake, I'm sorry. These are given to pregnant women. Folks, I'm not here to shake a finger at the medical community, really. It upsets me, it frustrates me, but I worked in that field for many, many years, so nothing shocks me. I'm here to teach you. If you're pregnant, or your daughter or daughter-in-law is pregnant, your wife, and she gets a urinary tract infection, she is probably going to be handed one of these drugs, okay? Since they don't know, you must. That's my whole purpose for being here. The next slide is, many of the prescriptions were likely written by healthcare providers who are not familiar. Oh, tisk, tisk, tisk. Not familiar with the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists recommendations. It is important that healthcare providers of various specialties be aware of these recommendations when prescribing antibiotic treatments for women with antibiotic treatments for UTIs to pregnant women or women who might become pregnant in the near future, says the doctor who wrote this article. You know what she's saying? That's a dance. And the dance was, well, maybe they didn't teach this in medical training. But we're putting women on these things. Guys, Know the cause is all about you knowing the cause, because they think they know the cause. Oh, we're going to put all women on Macrobid or Bactrim. That's what you do for urinary tract infections. You mean it can cause a birth defect or spontaneous abortion? Well, we don't mean to do. They're not like that. I'm being facetious, but they've got to be careful. UTI diagnosed if bacteria is in the urine. So this article went on to say when women go for a checkup to the obstetrician, they check their urine. Here we go. UTI is the most common indication for antimicrobial use in hospitals for antibiotics. And a significant portion of this use is inappropriate or unnecessary. Specimen contamination should always be considered, as this is common in female patients. Did you ever question, you know what, we're going to have to put you on an antibiotic, but I'm pregnant? Well, don't worry about it. You have a urinary tract infection. How do you know? Well, your urine came back with bacteria in it. I'm a female. It says a significant portion of females end up with a false positive reaction. Why don't we do this again, Doc? Why don't I come back tomorrow? Instead of you putting me on an antibiotic that might induce spontaneous abortion or a genetic deficiency, a genetic mutation in my child and have some birth defect, why don't we do this again tomorrow? Well, I'm very busy tomorrow. I'm being facetious, but I'm angry. And you should be too. That this kind of thing is going on today in doctors' offices. Should bacteria in the urine always be treated with antibiotics? The doctor, and I underscore this, and you, must weigh the benefits versus the potential harm of any medical treatment, including antibiotics for pregnant women with a urinary tract infection. As this research noted, sometimes the doctors are unaware that drugs have such devastating side effects or prescribe them to non-pregnant women who later become pregnant. I think the two words at the very end of this little dissertation is what it's all about. Be careful. It is incumbent upon you to be responsible for everything that happens in that doctor's office. Sometimes, folks, they're good people. They're always good people, but sometimes they just don't. You know, at the big meeting in Orlando here a couple of months ago, ACIM, you never know who's going to be there. There was an oncologist, and we said, we got our cameras. John was there, Clay was there. We got our cameras. Would anyone like to go up and sit down and talk to us? Because Doug thinks cancer is fungus. Well, there's this Dr. Paul who came up, poised as she could be. What a classy woman. Folks, she's an oncologist and sees a lot of urological cancers, and she specializes in men's prostate cancer, right? What does she think about antibiotics? What does she think about urinary tract infections? How I started today's show, right? Should we use antibiotics? But most importantly, my upcoming book, The Women's Guide to Fungal Yeast and Fungal Problems, I do a whole chapter on, are we passing this back and forth? The most common yeast to impregnate a male prostate is Candida albicans. Oh wait, isn't Candida what women with vaginal yeast infections have? Are we passing this back and forth? It's very difficult to find any physician who says yes, but wait till you watch this. I'll be back right after to add a few comments. Watch her now.
First thing is find out what causes it. Everybody is different, so everybody has a different cause. And the key is to find out what the root cause of the problem is. And then my tendency is always to use natural remedies and also check structure. The structure can be very important, not just the mycotoxins and other things like that. And of course, always avoid antibiotics because I know they're trapped long term. And so for me, it's how to get the bladder healthy. If the bladder and the whole body is healthy, then UTIs are not there anymore. The answer is yes, and that's why when you treat any ailment or disease, you have to treat the family and the couple. If you're going to change, you have to change both, otherwise it doesn't seem to work so well. My real work is on prostate and prostate cancer. And what I'm finding with next generation genomic testing, which is a fancy way to say, we check for 34,000 pathogens by pushing the fluid out of the prostate. We are finding exactly what people are infected with. And a large percentage of people is not just bacteria like we used to think, but parasites and fungal infections. And that's the important key. And that's what I really am excited about, because there's nobody else doing that. And how do we treat that in a way that we're not going to destroy the immune system by giving antibiotics? That's the real challenge. Oh my God, stay away from surgery. To take it from a surgeon, if you can avoid it, never have surgery, for sure.
Isn't that amazing? Be careful of surgery. Folks, if you break your arm, some people need surgery to fix it, right? If your prostate is swollen, what's with all the hypersurgery going on? And the implants and all the medications? I got to tell you, folks, you need to be careful out there. I loved her. I love what she had to say. There's a book written, Everybody with a Prostate, and everybody who loves somebody with a prostate needs to read this book, The Great Prostate Hoax, written by Dr. Richard Ablin. He's alive and doing well. He's in Arizona. He is the doctor who founded the PSA molecule. And his book says how big medicine hijacked the PSA test and caused a public health disaster. Men are being injured because of a test that is not prostate specific, nor is it a cancer test. So I'm glad that she came on and cleared the air for some people. The PSA, I don't know about that. Prostate parasite infections, yeah. Prostate fungal infections, I think, more often than not. And now you may too. Upcoming right now, two people I absolutely love. Clay Cross asked the question, what's eating you? And then Pam Bartha teaches you how to become your own wellness champion. How important is that? You will see in these two segments. Help yourself get better. Watch these.
Hi, and welcome to the Nutrition News Minute. I'm Clay C. Cross. So what's eating you? Well, depends on what you're eating. Changing our flavoring and eating styles seems to be on the rise for 2019. According to a recent research conducted by a major grocery store chain, they are predicting natural sweeteners and improved digestive healthy food choices to become more popular this year, as well as concentrated eating styles, from vegetarian to flexitarian to keto and paleo. One of the store's spokesperson was quoted as saying, "It seems an increased number of consumers are incorporating these eating styles in hopes of improved health and wellness." Now, some other healthy gut fact-finding trends for 2019 seems to be the intake of organic apple cider vinegar, as well as Greek yogurt and probiotic low-fat milk. Also, the study cited that the trend of replacement and abandonment of sugar is a focal point for many that is on the rise for this year as well. So it seems our tastes are changing, and that's for the better. For the Nutrition News Minute, I'm Clay C. Cross.
We spoke in Orlando, Florida at the big ACIM event about becoming a wellness champion, right? How you can do that. A decade before that event ever came along, this book was on the market. 2011, Pam wrote this book. Do you think about it? Okay, this book is called Become a Wellness Champion because she had to, okay? Pam, welcome to the show and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Doug.
You were at that event, ACIM. Yes. What has happened since 2011? Pam was diagnosed at age 28 with multiple sclerosis. Go home, buy a wheelchair, get your affairs in order. And Pam said, to heck with that. I'm not buying that diagnosis. You then wrote a book years later as you continue to get better and better and better. Since 2011, what have you learned in those past 8 years?
Oh my goodness. So my heart was, I became a high school math and science teacher, but my heart was to help people recover. I wrote the book, but it's not enough for people that are dealing with chronic disease. They need support because treating these infections, the fungus, the parasites, people need hand-holding through it. So I developed a course, Live Disease-Free Academy, and in that course I teach people how to be the director of their health, how to take charge of their health, how to play an active role in their healthcare, and that's truly the only way that they're going to recover. And we have helped hundreds, where probably around 600 students have gone through the course, and people's lives are changed.
I'm so bullish on this, Pam, because you and I stood there and listened to all those really bright, Dietrich Klinghardt, Lee Cowden, Joe Mercola. We listened to all these people, and everybody's got something different. Doug's is fungus, you know, Simon Yu's is parasites. And there you sat, you know, taking notes, but you had worked with real people. Here's the problem, in my humble opinion, when working with a doctor who's an alternative doctor. You're going to get tested and tested and tested and tested. Nope, we don't take your insurance. $25,000 later. This is why I love this book and what Pam is doing. Pam, you're currently working with 75, 80 people?
Yes, from over 10 countries.
It's hard to look at you, and at that event, you know, we've been friends for many years, to look at you and think, wow, 25 years ago, she was given a death sentence. You have MS. Did you ever go back to that doctor?
When I was in university doing my science degree, I wanted a letter from them just to keep my student loan status. And at that time, going back to him, I had been in remission for multiple years, and they just said, no, your nerves have nothing to do with your digestive tract. So that was the last time that I was in touch with them.
Can we jump off there?
Yes.
Do nerves have to deal with digestive tract? Do worms affect everything in our body?
Yes. In our GI tract, there are more nerves than in the spinal column. So there's this highway of nerves, and whatever's happening in the gut, it impacts our brain hugely. So there's a huge connection.
Now, I don't know if you guys are ready for this, and if not, turn your eyes away for 5 seconds. This is a worm. She's working with a young person. This is a worm a foot long.
Yeah, I would say about a foot long.
And by the way, folks, as these worms begin coming out, she uses oxidative therapies. As the worms begin coming out, lots of them from these people, you see, parasites are parasites. They live off us. So do fungi. So Pam is addressing what nobody has before, to the best of my knowledge, not only the worms, the flukes, but the fungus also. How long is it before these things come out that people start saying, oh man, Pam, I'm feeling so much better, look what's, and they want to share these with you?
This has been an incredible year. This year we're finding ways to get them out quicker. So once a student starts working with me, within a week or two, they can start passing these worms. And when they come out, they're so excited. And they start feeling better. They have more energy, their mood improves, they sleep better through the night, and they have hope because they actually have some physical evidence, and they save those pictures for their doctors to show them that they are infested with parasites.
So many of you watch me on Facebook, watch Pam on Facebook, and watch my TV show. Is it possible, and you're polysymptomatic, Doug, I have MS, but I also have a lump in my breast, and I'm depressed in my skin, look at me. Is it possible to live diseasefree.com? There's one way to tell. Go study. Become a student of Pam's. Pam and I had so much to talk about, and we only have 5 minutes on TV. So I asked John and Clay, the producers, if after this show we could do another 15, 20 minutes and really let her outline the course for you. So just go to our website on our homepage, knowthecause.com. Pam and Doug continue this conversation because it's important. Thank you.
Oh, it is.
Thanks.
Life-changing. Thank you, Doug.
Many of you folks know my background. I had some weird symptoms going on when I got back from Vietnam, and I've had people tell me, well, you saw things a 20-year-old kid, you were in medicine in the war. You saw things a kid shouldn't have seen. Yeah, but I don't feel it's in my head, like my skin is bleeding, my stomach has problems, and so forth. And then I got it. It wasn't post-traumatic stress. I've lived through all of that. It was when I ate green vegetables, I felt great, but I didn't like green vegetables at all. When I changed my diet from hot dogs, hamburgers, soda pop, candy, booze, when I went off all that and ate green leafy vegetables, I felt great. I didn't know why. So scientists are now catching up with my 50-year-old discovery, right? And this is pretty cool. I'm actually happy about this. Don't know if I can pronounce this, but here we go. Here's a headline I just read the other day. This is great, great news. The headline was Plants as Antifungal Factories. Okay, it's making sense. You mean when I eat spinach, there's antifungal properties in those? 2, 3, 4 years ago or so, I gave a talk on nutrition and antifungals to a group of cancer doctors. I then repeated that talk with a few tweaks to another large group of doctors at ACIM, right? The Academy of Complementary and Integrative Medicine. They all loved it. Folks, doctors aren't schooled in this, so they really appreciate when someone can teach them the facts. As I want to show you how well credentialed this discovery is, the base of this, plants that kill fungus. Look at the initials, very impressive. Researchers from the Spanish Research Council, or the CSIC, at the Center for Research in Agricultural Genomics, or the CRAG, and the Institute for Plant Molecular and Cell Biology, or IBMCP, in collaboration with the IATA, which they didn't define, have developed a biotechnological tool to produce, in a very efficient manner, antifungal proteins in plants. Wow, are they credentialed? They must know exactly what they're talking about. Let me cut to the chase. Green plants, when you plant a seed, and it grows up before photosynthesis takes place, before the sun hits it and just takes over. In the soil are lots of fungi and lots of bacteria, and that seed has to beat it through the germination process. Up it comes, now it's got the sun, vitamin D, huge antifungal, right? But down in the ground, it must have something to keep it from being swallowed up by fungus. Here we go. These were the slides. Here's one slide. I showed all these doctors at this presentation. This comes out of the International Journal of Current Science Research in 2015. All plants possess phenolic compounds, but the amount may vary. Okay, you got that? All plants, not just some plants like this one they were talking about. All plants possess phenolic compounds. So when you hear the word phenol, that's a good thing. And then the Canadian Journal of Plant Pathology, 2013, it's been demonstrated that phenolic compounds have antifungal properties. We've wondered for years and years and years why eating greens are so good. When the boys got old enough, my kids got old enough to start staying overnight with friends, we knew they were eating pizza and drinking soda pop. And so when we came home, when the kids came home, Ruth would always cook some broccoli or Brussels sprouts. That was the penance for eating the way they ate. And folks, I'm so glad I did that. Look, if you enjoy going out and having a couple drinks with friends, or you're eating wheat or corn with mycotoxins, a little green is a lot of antifungal. That's what this is all about. Eat green. Feel good. Now you know what. You know, we review these shows before we go on the air. I love what Dr. Rapol said. I'm a surgeon. Be careful of surgeons, right? Sometimes they're absolutely necessary. I'm a person who prescribes antibiotics. Be careful with antibiotics. And is this transmittable? You bet it can be. Thank you, Pam Bartha. Thank you, Clay Cross. Thank you for joining us today. God bless. Bye-bye.